So
So where the stone circular.
where the stone circular is where we're targeting, yeah.
Oh, so that's where it's going, right?
Yeah.
And
It's close to the bathrooms and to the power.
Right. When I was looking at it, I thought it was like to the right of it.
No, it's gonna be the stone.
So,
As I said, I think it's fantastic.
Yeah, I
Well
agree.
deserved.
we all agree.
Thank you.
Very nice.
So my second is, I wanted to make an announcement to the town. This is my last tour to Goshen. It's been
Really?
35 years, but this is my final.
Anybody taking it over?
I don't think so.
No?
Nobody's that stupid.
Now,
I didn't think that about me running for supervisor.
I'm not arguing that one either.
were you 6'9" when you started?
No, I was never, I wasn't tall.
Well, you've worked hard at it. You know what?
You did.
Congratulations on all the work you've done.
Absolutely.
Well, thank you.
Yeah.
But it's just, it's time. 35 years is a good mark to end up.
After building this year,
I'm
I'm surprised nobody can take it over or anything like that.
So I'm not leaving. Wait a minute.
No, I
I'm not leaving
understand.
Goshen, I'm not leaving town, I'm not dying, I'm not doing anything.
Oh, okay.
I'm just giving up the tour.
Right.
Right.
Don't they have like a Roadrunners Club or something?
No one will step in.
It is a fair amount of
Work.
time.
It's wonderful, yeah. Sure.
Fresh.
It's one more, it's all you guys gotta have to put up with.
Now let's make it a big one.
Yeah, I hope so.
Boy, we could argue about liability insurance.
Yeah.
I'll see if I can find somebody. I did, there we have. Any questions, anything I can help with?
Nope, thank you
Thanks
very
for your
much.
time.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it
Keep
all.
keep us informed on this as we move forward.
We are gonna move forward. Final plans will come once everything is installed, like, of course, we'll address the. One of the thing is, one of the things we're losing out on is funding. And it is the park and rec thing, so I just wanna throw a seed out there. I'm not asking for anything just yet. We're trying to do this with a lot of private money. But I know I'm gonna fall short, but we're gonna do this with a lot of private money. But just, I wanna throw the seed out there.
Well, come back and see us when you're working your way through it.
That sounds like a great idea. Thank you.
All right.
Okay.
Good night.
Good night. Next on the agenda, discuss and approve the appointment of Mr. Frank Liva as building inspector to commence May 23rd, 2022. It's already been approved. It's a formality, but we asked Frank to come in. Anybody have any questions for him or any, I know we have no concerns, but any questions relative to this appointment?
Well, you know, here again, Frank, you're so experienced. And I was always worried when he was going to go and what's going to happen and this and that. So I'm thrilled that you leave one great come to us. So,
Thank you.
yeah.
Well, I think it's, go ahead, Phil.
No, that's okay. I just have one question. You sure you want to do this?
I feel like I'm coming home.
All right.
Good for you.
I'm really
Welcome
humbled
home.
and grateful, and I'm looking forward to this opportunity, I really am.
Yeah.
I've been on the other side of the counter for many years. I'm on the building department side of the counter now for the past 14 years. I think it's a good fit for me, so I think it's a great fit.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, your experience up in Walk Hill, much bigger municipality than us. I think you're gonna do wonderful here. Plus you have knowledge of everything that's on the planning process anyway, because you sit on the planning board. So I think it's a great fit.
Thank you.
Anything else? Well, welcome aboard.
Okay,
No,
thank you.
sorry, we need a
What?
motion
I make a motion.
We need a motion for it. We approve
to
it.
hire him on the
Oh,
board,
okay.
sorry.
We got a motion to hire Frank Liva as building inspector. So moved. Second. All in favor?
Well, Rick made the motion,
Oh,
and I have
I'll
Phil
second.
second it.
All in favor?
Aye.
Congratulations,
Thank you.
Frank.
Thank you.
See you soon.
Madam Clerk, thank you.
You're welcome.
You say that now, Madam.
Fired you up already. Look at that. Buttered up already.
All right, next up is Chief McDowell. Review and discuss the request for Chief McDowell to hire James Boyd, who just retired as sergeant, as a part-time police officer, and the hiring of a full-time officer to replace Officer Lipinski, who was promoted to fill Sergeant Boyd's position. Chief?
All right, still just Jimmy Boyd was a big blow. I mean, he's really a good guy, solid. Luckily, I'd like to have him back part-time. I hope you approve that tonight, so we can afford what we want. Fully trained, knows everything. We'll get him back at a discounted rate. So,
When you come back as an officer,
he's come back as a patrolman.
Okay.
But he thought that he, maybe come back as sergeant, but once you leave, and the next guy in line was getting Lipinski. Sure. It's just the way it is.
Right.
The other thing is, when I lost Jimmy Boyd, that's the fourth full-timer I've lost since I've been. Our nucleus is getting less and less. I have a good part-timer that I would love to get promoted into full-time. He grew up in Goshen, has ties here. He put himself through the academy. He's a real good kid. So, and get voted on that tonight.
Well, from my perspective, I think that, it's, you have to replace the position regardless of who it is. And I think Nigel is a perfect candidate for it because he lives in Goshen, he knows the police department, he knows everybody that's right. So from my perspective, I think it's the ideal person for that position. So you have my vote for it, for sure.
is he willing to come, chief?
Yes,
Anybody?
he actually wrote a letter to the
Yep.
board.
You wrote a letter to the board.
Yeah.
I have it with me.
Oh.
Yeah.
So maybe I'll just make a motion for discussion. That we will hire them full-time police officers.
That's it.
And also hire Boyd back.
You meant
as
put us-
part-time police officer. I'll do that in one motion. Lori?
I was giving
I know
Mary,
you were.
yes.
So.
I feel like I got caught by my teacher in class right
No,
there.
I made a motion, but I want to make sure that.
Yeah, I was-
it's legal. I
Sorry.
said that
You're gonna make a motion.
I make a
You're
motion
making a
that we
motion.
hire him full-time and also hire Mr. Boyd as a part-time
Great, thank
officer.
you.
Can I just do that in one motion?
I don't see any reason why not.
Okay, I did it.
Second,
Okay, so now the
all in
Second.
favor?
Right?
discussion.
Any discussion?
Well, I'd like to say that with Nigel, when he worked for us part-time, he did a very nice job. I remember one day there was someone broken down the highway and he was right there doing it. And I pulled up and said, "Everything okay?" He said, "Oh yeah, we're right on it. Tow truck's coming and so on." So he's very customer oriented, if you know what I mean. He's young and doesn't have any chips on his shoulder.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
He has all his uniforms, all his equipment, so
Yeah, I saw
his salary would be less than Jimmy Boyd, so there's no budget issue.
Right.
Saving money. So it's really.
And in terms of Jim Boyd, if you recall when we had the reinvention, 2 weeks after we had reinvented ourselves, he was involved in a minority traffic accident. And the mother wrote a letter to the paper saying how wonderful he was. So you can't find better than Jimmy Boyd.
I'll move the motion.
That's a motion. I need a vote. Roll call.
Aye.
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 Yeah, Chief.
Now, Chief, you got everything?
Is that a?
You ask for a helicopter or a police station or anything? You can over now.
I thought you wanted a couple of tanks.
That's about the first time, right?
How do we have?
No.
Well, I was gonna actually raise a question right now that might be worth going into executive session for a personnel employment issue and potentially attorney-client issues. So do you want someone to make a motion to go into executive session related to?
5 minutes,
employment?
Bob, that's all we got.
Somebody swear him in.
We have to go to
Oh, you
executive.
want me to leave?
No, we're gonna,
Oh, yeah.
I'm just telling you, it's gonna be 5 minutes. Mary will get you coffee.
What?
What?
You want us to leave? You wanna go into there or
No,
you say
we'll-
leave?
The 5 of us are going to the other room.
Okay.
I'm sorry, because the chief was talking to me, so I missed. You're making a motion to go into executive session?
For personnel.
A personnel issue.
And
Who made the
potentially,
mo- Yeah. Who made
but
the
that's
motion?
enough.
Who made the motion
I did.
and who seconded?
I'll
Sorry.
second the motion. Chief, are you staying? Are you staying?
Yeah,
or
he's
Oh, he's coming with us.
he's coming with us. So is Rory. All right, we're back in session. Okay.
Is Rory gonna just run us through?
Rory needs a
Yeah.
minute.
Well,
Do
no,
we
I'll
have
do
to
it. I'll just do it.
reconvene the
I'll just-
meeting? We have to make a motion. We have to.
No, because we have a motion to come out of executive session.
Yes, go back.
Okay.
And
So I have a
then,
motion.
Joe, do you mind carrying the Sean stuff for a sec? I have to run into the office. Something.
Yeah, we'll wait for you to get back.
Okay. That works.
But in the meantime, we can make a motion.
Motion
that
to
we
come
can
back.
Reconvene the meeting. Yep.
So moved.
Second. All in favor?
Aye.
We're back in session. Thank you, Bob, for being so patient with us.
We got nothing but,
Can-
okay, Saturday.
Wait, can you thank me for hanging out with him?
I would have thanked you if you got him something, you know, if you went, called Delancey's up for, you know, a drink and a dozen wings.
Highlight your week.
What do you folks have for dinner?
I had a pizza.
I didn't eat dinner yet.
I have ribeye.
Ribeye.
I did.
Nice to be you guys. I didn't eat dinner. Well, not so much.
All right, so I'm gonna turn it over to Rory for items 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, and 12.
All right, so I think everybody's pile should have a series of correspondence. Mr. Hoffman, so I'll take each one in turn, give an opportunity for discussion. If not, I'll move on to the next one.
Do we need to approve each one individually or? can we
Yes.
pull them in?
No, you have to do it
Go
individually.
individually?
Yeah.
Okay, so then we'll do a motion at the end.
Yeah.
Okay. So the first one is item number 4, which is to review and approve 2 decommissioning agreements between Pulaski Highway Solar 1 LLC, Town of Goshen, and Pulaski Highway Solar 2 LLC in the Town of Goshen.
So I got a question on that.
Yeah.
Versus,
Which
for the
one?
next one, you're going through the decommissioning bond, so I don't think that we need a
Right.
motion on that. one.
No.
That's just
Right, number 5 and
information
6.
leading us into the next 2. Okay.
Sure. We'll take 4, 5, and 6 all together then.
Okay.
Okay. So direct it back to the board for discussion, if any. If not, then ask someone to make a motion to.
From a perspective of how we've done it in the past,
Sure.
our engineer says this is, that he reviews what they present, the decommissioning amount of money. He agrees with that, and he's agreed with that in his letter, so to speak, to us. So to me, it's a non-event. We just have to make a motion
For
to.
each.
Right, so taking that going forward on each one of them, let's start with a motion for 4, 5, and 6. Even the decommission, you want to decide the cash
We
flows?
need it.
Okay, all right, so backtracking, everybody, we're gonna start with a motion for number 4, which is to approve the 2 decommissioning agreements between Pulaski Highway Solar 1 LLC and Town of Goshen, and Pulaski Highway Solar 2 LLC in the Town of Goshen.
So moved.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Very good.
Opposed?
Moving to the next action item, which would be number 5, which would be to approve the decommissioning cash bond in the amount of $34,551.34, which is related to lot 1 of the aforementioned project.
So moved.
Second,
Is that George? Yeah, okay.
all in favor?
Aye.
Moving to the next action item will be number 6, which would be to approve the decommissioning cash bond in the amount of $252,186.80, which is related to lot 2.
Motion,
So moved.
second,
I'll second it.
all in favor?
Aye.
So,
So which is now number 7, which is the item is to review and approve 2 escrow agreements between Pulaski Highway Solar 1 LLC in the Town of Goshen, Pulaski Highway Solar 2 LLC in the Town of Goshen. Open for discussion.
So moved.
We should do a
Second.
motion.
all in favor?
We got it.
sorry, guys.
We just did a motion on it.
We don't need a motion to review. I need it.
No, I
On
think
the
so.
separate.
It says review and approve.
No, I just, motion is to approve. Opening for discussion, that's what it is.
Did a motion on the floor, so we
Just one, I'm sorry.
Bill,
just
you
one
made the
second.
motion?
I made the motion.
Rick second, all in favor?
Aye.
Just you.
Opposed?
Yeah.
That was just for the
I'll-
escrow.
The performance
Right.
bond,
Correct.
33.
And this was also review and approve.
All right, number 8 would be to review and approve performance bond in the amount of $33,419.11 to ensure completion of the activities related to stormwater pollution prevention plan, lot 1.
So move.
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Number 9, review and approve the performance bond in the amount of $333,857.27 to ensure completion of the activities related to a stormwater pollution prevention plan for lot 2.
Motion?
Make motion.
Second.
Aye.
Number 10, review and approve 2 stormwater maintenance agreements between Pulaski Highway Solar 1 LLC and the town of Goshen, and Pulaski Highway Solar 2 LLC and the town of Goshen.
Motion?
So moved.
Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Number 11, review and approve maintenance agreement cash bond in the amount of $319 to ensure proper operation and maintenance of all stormwater management and erosion control facilities during construction for lot 1.
Taking a motion?
So moved.
Second, all in favor?
Aye.
Number 12, review and approve maintenance agreement cash bond in the amount of $3,181 to ensure proper operation and maintenance of all stormwater management and erosion control facilities during construction for lot 2.
Motion?
So moved.
Second,
Who's second?
George, all in favor?
Aye.
Thank you.
That's easy.
On to number 13. Phil's gonna give us an update on the Solution property.
So we did send out bid sheets and I guess we got quite a few potential bidders. However, there was some, today was the actual bid opening. However, there were a number of questions that were unanswered. They were good questions. I talked to Sean this morning. He said he had written up an addendum to the actual bid specs, and we're going to move the opening of the bid with the addendum. It appears to April 28th. Is that correct, Mary?
No, April 26th is the Tuesday.
26th?
26, yeah.
10 o'clock?
10 o'clock.
Yes, I'm sorry,
Yeah.
the 26th, so we could possibly vote on it on April.
But we heard back on the bids so far, the ones that were out.
Some people sent in some questions.
Oh, question, but no bid.
No.
Okay, fine, we're together.
There were a number of questions.
Yeah.
From a few firms.
Yeah.
And they were legitimate questions, Sean said
So-
they were good questions. Some were redundant, but they were good questions.
So then all that information is made available to all the bidders then?
Yes.
And so on the 26th, the D-Day, where we open bids?
Yeah.
Very good, okay, thank you.
Okay. That's all I have.
Next item on the agenda. This is information, I'm gonna,
Just, I think we all understand who it is.
to George-Nick Rangisippian.
That's pretty good.
Not even
As
close.
submitted a letter of resignation as of April 27, 2022. Tosh has been with us for 15 years. Dear Judge Van Haster and Judge Brady, please accept this letter of formal notification that I am resigning my position as senior court clerk with the town of Goshen Court. My last day will be April 22nd. I recently offered a position with the Sullivan County Family Court, and after careful consideration of how will be greater opportunities for upward mobility and compensation, I decided to accept the offer, knowing that will also allow me to better as a sole caretaker of my parents. I thank you, Judge Van Haster, for the opportunity to have served you for 15 years, and you, Judge Brady, for the past 4 months. I also thank the late Judge Tom Sion and the former judge, now town attorney, Rory K. Brady, for the opportunity to have served them as well. I will truly miss the court staff, whom I've had the blessing of working with, Louis, Chelsea, Jose, and Lisa. I will also miss my coworkers at the town hall and wish everybody best luck. Kajorsnik and Jacinti, senior clown clerk, senior court clerk.
I'll make a motion that we accept his resignation and request that we send him a letter of appreciation.
Second that.
All in favor?
Aye.
All right.
And there's a party for it.
Yeah, next
Yes.
Thursday, I believe it is, 5:30, Kelly Jeans, is that correct?
There's one, well, I know
When is it?
there's one
I-
here.
I-
Here.
The 27th lunch,
27th lunch.
1 o'clock.
Where-
I tried. Everybody else.
They were like, oh,
Where's it at?
We're gonna have it here,
What time then?
1 o'clock. Send your email.
See that next thing. Here, I didn't see item number. So it's just information, but I didn't see the attached.
It was a letter
Oh,
from the court.
I can read it into the record. I don't know if it,
I got the.
Yeah, I didn't get it. It's in my package. So it is information only. Please see the attached letter in response to the prior inquiry of checks held in abeyance to the Justice Court. Inquiry from Councilman Doug Bloomfield. Mr. Brady, as of March 24th, Town Board Councilman Doug Bloomfield inquired as to if the issue of the checks that were held in abeyance was ever resolved. Please note that while neither I nor my predecessor contributed to the above, we did resolve the issue by contacting the bailers, defendants by mail, utilizing all available court resources to locate them and return and reissue checks to them as appropriate. As a result, the issue has not been presented in subsequent audits conducted by Nugent and Hessler, PC, as a finding of concern.
Good. Yay.
16 years ago.
Yes, but about 3 years in a row, we kept getting gigged on this.
That was right after the 16 years.
And-
We haven't been talking about this for like 13 years.
Yeah, but
So
I
I
mean,
think you
you
must have
know,
woke up someplace.
it went back to the days of Judge Sion.
Yeah, right.
You know, I
must
mean, it
have
went
just
way
come out of
back
the
and-
ether, Doug. Jeez.
Huh?
I said you must have just come out of the ether.
No.
It's been 13
No,
years.
no, this has been discussed in your office when you were judge.
no,
Yeah.
it predates me.
Yeah,
I was,
I know. the
yeah.
incident
But it was not resolved,
but it
though.
was discussed.
The checks were not, the checks were not.
I
sent
would
back.
say everybody is mostly right about it. It did continue to pop up in audits the years following it,
Yes.
which creep into right when I come in.
And what
So,
I'm saying is, it wasn't 13 years ago, it was like 5 years.
no,
ago.
it's,
No.
I was judged for 7.5, so it
Yeah.
predates me. I'd say probably,
But
let's split the
whatever-
difference. and say
Way
before
back.
But
that time.
whatever it is, it went on for a few years because they kept coming back. I know at least 3 times with Nugent and Hausler. I said, what are you going to do? What are you going to do? And Christine and I talked about it. So anyway, the courts have resolved it. We even had someone come back
Yeah.
and
There was a
study,
special person
and they
that came
couldn't
and said,
find out where it was at.
It was
Yeah.
resolved because it was no longer an item on the audit.
correct.
Okay, well,
What
you
happens
know
is
more
if
than
it's
I do.
unresolved, the audit, and the following audit is listed.
They-
as-
They wanted to know how to make sure it didn't happen again.
Yes.
And once those
Right.
provisions were put in, it doesn't pop up on the audit anymore.
Well,
Right.
I'm glad it's resolved.
Yes.
That was easy.
All right, next on the agenda, moving right along here.
Just
Item
change the show.
16, review and discuss request from the Village of Florida for annexation of 2 parcels owned by the Village of Florida located in the town of Goshen, SPL 20-1-43.22 and 20-1-42. See attached letter. Everybody has a copy of the letter. We had at the request of the mayor, Mayor Harder, he came up here with his attorney and one of his council persons, I guess, and myself and town attorney Brady met with them and sat down, and they requested, due to the fact that they own the property, that the town is not collecting any taxes on the property. That we annex the property over to the village so that they don't have to ask permission to go on the property to do maintenance work and things like that. I asked the Attorney Brady to look at what the potential issues were. I guess they brought some issues up. They came in front of the town board before, and there was some concern about the annexation of additional adjoining properties relative to giving them these two parcels. So I'll turn it over to Attorney
So,
Brady and he can take you through it.
thanks. I imagine that most of the board is familiar with this in some iteration, but the property is a wastewater treatment plant with a cell tower that's on it. And essentially, whenever improvements need to be made or additional construction, it would require some form of either presenting to a board of some nature or requesting permission to, in some way, shape, or form, whether it's a site plan or whatever the case may be. As Supervisor noted, we don't own the property. It is congruent with the Village of Florida's municipal line. So it's the first property, it abuts the municipal lines. It's, contiguous. Thank you. I don't know if I said the wrong.
No.
But it's not like it's in the middle of the village. I believe the concern raised in the past was, would it create a precedent to allow further annexation, which in this particular case, those properties would need to be owned by the Village of Florida for that to even be a question presented. So it's not a hypothetical right now that essentially could even be presented to us because the properties adjacent to it or congruent to it are all contiguous to it. I'm going to keep forcing it in there. Are owned by a private property owner. I think we're probably aware of some of those properties, but right now there's no plan for the Village of Florida to own those properties, and therefore that question is put to that. Secondary question that you guys haven't asked, which the research led to, is that should we say no to this? There is a manner in which they essentially could secure their wants and needs anyway, which would be through the called Monroe balancing test. It's a test for intermunicipal properties where they would technically be, our zoning laws would apply to them. That's the baseline is whatever the property is in, those zoning laws apply. They can appeal that essentially by way of litigation, and if the balancing test swings in their favor, they would no longer be held by our zoning laws and wouldn't have to come to our boards to apply whatever they want to do anyway. So the question then leads to, if we don't want to annex it, what is the likelihood of success? And it's a balancing test, and courts are unpredictable, and that's how lawyers make money. But I would say that in this particular scenario, being the way that the relationship has existed already, it doesn't seem like there'd be much need for a pushback, and I don't know that we'd be ultimately successful anyway. So that was a long-winded way of saying it seems like there's no issues for annexation.
We had in the past, maybe 5-10 years ago, I don't know, there was an annexation where we annexed some land from them, and then they wanted to get it back because things changed. And that's the only time that we've had them in here making a presentation of annexes. Or I may have that back.
I thought it was Al, Mr. Mulrad, that Mulrad.
What happened is, that's right.
Yeah.
Mulrad, we annexed it. to
Yes.
us, and then he came in and
Wanted
to
to annex it back.
to Florida.
That's correct. That's what it
Have
was.
them annex it back.
Yeah.
But,
That's the only time I've seen them here.
Right. Did you say there was a cell tower on that property?
There is.
They must have been collecting revenue. Those cell towers are very, very lucrative.
Oh,
Have
yeah,
they
yeah.
been collecting revenue, not paying us anything?
Well, they don't owe us anything because it's their property.
It's their property, it's in the town of Goshen.
Well, I
It
don't
doesn't
know.
matter if it's their property or your property or George's, if it's in the town of Goshen, you're liable for any taxes. But they're tax exempt because of the municipality. But I just bring up an interesting point, only because cell towers pay big money for property. I'm just wondering if they.
Do we have a?
I'm not gonna go.
I don't know of any cell tower law, but I would venture to say they were definitely collecting monies. I don't know that they would owe us anything
I just
particularly.
needed that with that.
No, I'll look into any
No, I have no problem with the annexation. It makes sense. It's their
question as to whether we know.
It's their problem.
Well, I think there was also that issue of now, say piggybacking. Next properties that are in the town of Goshen, now that these have been annexed, now the village, well, I want to go. I want to take mine. Now this next property, whatever it is, might be Al Morad. Now the next property is there, and I want to go to the village because I want to pursue a system.
Sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Always, you always have that.
That's
Those
present
people have to come in
already.
front of us.
Sorry.
So that opens the door for that. Now, I'm not saying that I'm against that.
Right.
I'm just saying, I think everybody should be aware of that.
Well, that was the issue identified. The issue identified in the beginning, which was saying is it doesn't open us up. Those properties, at least from my reading of it, are already in that situation. They already are on the line. But if we're talking about Monroe's properties, they essentially surround this piece of property and go up against the municipal
They're
line.
contiguous
I'm not gonna
to
use it. I'm not
Florida.
gonna give in. So I'm not giving in. But the reason I bring it up is that issue is already there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like in this particular specific scenario, those properties that you're talking about, it's not bringing in necessarily new properties to the line because those properties are already on that line.
They already bordered.
And they would have to come to us anyway and get the approval from us to
for
annex to them.
annexation. Now, the next thing is just, I think we still have to provide services. Police, and I'm stepping way out of my line. but
I will
I
get you
think
a concrete answer on it, but I think it's
in
the
Goshen-
opposite. I think it releases us from the liability because it's not in the town of Goshen anymore.
Well, it is in the town of Goshen.
No,
So
no,
next-
not if it's
next
annexed.
to Florida.
But if we annex the two parcels, it becomes part of their, those section block and lot numbers get readjusted
Yeah.
to whatever they're.
Yeah, it's, and I only answer that with the way I answered it because we had that discussion about the other properties that are in.
Right.
When you have a property that's geographically located in the middle, that's where you have,
Right.
that's fine. When you have to go all the way out to maintain someone else's property. So I think it releases us from that, but I will give you a concrete answer.
Way back in the annals of my mind, I remember that was an issue, but maybe not a right issue, so I have no problem. They should have it.
Concerns, George?
No, Rick,
Doug?
No,
No? I get a motion to allow for the annexation of these two parcels to the village of Florida from the town of Goshen. Second,
Sorry, who's second?
Doug?
Doug.
All in favor?
I,
Opposed? All right. Moving on. Review and authorize the town supervisor to sign a safety plan for Dial Bus, see attached.
50 pages.
Yeah. Do I have to read this, Mary?
No.
no,
I read it.
Any issues?
None. It's pretty pro forma at this point. It does not deviate much from previous memorialized safety plans by this board. So,
We did have some issues going back a ways with a couple of clients.
Okay.
Chester, and so it was,
well,
I think they're all
and
resolved.
I think it's worth bringing up too,
Yeah,
because it hasn't really totally gone away. Handicapped people are responsible for getting on the bus and being, taking care of themselves and not creating a safety problem. And we've had a person through the years walking on, goes up and down, and where this person barks at us and said, "You're not doing it for me," when in fact we're following the procedure.
right.
He was not following the procedure. So, but that's always going to be there. And so, but anyway, I think our drivers do a pretty good job, as Michelle Radowitz as well.
Yeah.
Making sure that we do what we need to do to maintain safety for our customers.
and that one issue we did refer to the county.
Oh, yeah.
The county was able to square us away with their policies, so
Yeah,
we're in good shape.
I will just note that someone who reviews contracts and things like this all the time, it's pretty extensive. I mean, it's 62 pages.
Oh, yeah.
So it's not, and it's just specific to this, mostly to the safety plan. So it's a very
Yeah.
thorough document that has been, I'm sure, added to every time something comes up. There's another page added. But- So I felt it was pretty.
And if I remember correctly from the last time, 2 years ago, whatever, if you don't sign it, goes away.
Yes,
It's mandatory.
it is mandatory. I think they would need it for the insurance to that alone, right? So
Okay, so any other questions, concerns?
Need a motion?
yeah, we need a motion to
Two
authorize
motions.
you to sign it.
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Also need a motion, also need the resolution from the town board to submit the DOT for their May board meeting.
So move.
That's on here.
Wait,
Yeah,
wait,
there's a.
wait.
Go ahead.
I missed that. What do we do?
The resolution.
Michelle has that on her sheet here.
I don't,
I didn't see it.
So we're gonna have to prepare a resolution.
yeah, there's a draft of a resolution. That's, I didn't finalize it because I didn't have. it.
No, I understand.
Okay.
I just saw it first time myself, so.
Yeah, it'll be ready for next board meeting. It'll be circulated unless,
We have a motion to draw it. Who seconded that? What did we make a motion?
I did, but I got
there wasn't a second.
the safety plan we did, right?
Yeah.
Yes.
So do I need a motion for the resolution from the town board to submit the DOT for their May board meeting, or is that gonna be on the next one, the resolution is prepared?
Oh, we have for May.
They have to be, it has to be on the May meeting, so that means we're gonna have to do it for the 28th meeting,
Okay.
a meeting that I nor Phil will probably be at.
Right.
Was there a reason why we can't do it tonight?
Yeah.
Can we agree that we're gonna do a resolution and then,
The same
approve it?
resolution we've done every year.
It's queued up.
Okay,
I just
so-
I did not print it
Okay, I
out.
got you. So can I have a motion to prepare a resolution from the town board to submit to the DOT for their May board meeting?
So move.
Second?
Second.
All in favor?
Aye.
Is that for you to sign?
I have to
Yeah.
sign, yeah.
Okay.
Pages 1 and
So add that
17.
into the
So-
resolution,
Yeah.
authorizing them to sign.
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay.
Okay, so review and approve a resolution that authorizes the town of Goshen Police Chief to sign an agreement with the County of Orange to allow the Goshen Police Department to participate and be financially reimbursed for enforcement activities associated with the countywide stop GWI program.
So moved.
Second? All in favor?
Aye.
So the point that I was making, I guess the chief will look at it was, on the front page, it says the amount is $1,816.
Right.
$40, and then if you go to page 5, it says 1816 again, but in the words, it says $2,816. So that's-
Do you want to just work on getting clarification? So
Yeah, we did 2 seconds, gonna read it. No,
We can participate.
moving on to item number 19. Review and approval letter of support for Kevin Rochelle, requested by Assemblyman Colin Schmidt, which will authorize Kevin Rochelle to receive certain service credits under section 384D of the Retirement and Social Security Law. I do not.
You want me to hop in on this?
Who is Kevin?
It's like 14 months.
So, yeah,
9
Kevin-
months. he worked there.
He was an officer with the department for 9 months.
Yeah, 9 months.
There's been a bill that has been floated. It's been even signed, but not ultimately passed, but not signed into law, where it allow members to opt in past the deadline into a retirement system that's shorter than the 25, it's the 20. In this particular case, Mr. Rochelle, at no fault of his own, is not made aware or not his application was not submitted to this particular opportunity. So the Assemblyman asked us for a letter of support, which is necessary from the municipality, because if approved, we would bear the costs of whatever portion that time. And in this particular case, not that it's de minimis, but comparatively de minimis. So
Did he retire from here?
He's retiring from Middletown.
Okay.
And when he put in his retirement papers, he didn't get credit for his time in Goshen
Goshen.
because he was in this retirement instead of the one he was in with
So,
Middletown.
so from a retirement perspective, we're not.
Just really
giving
giving him credit,
Yeah, just credit.
yeah.
Okay.
Time.
Well, no, but it's gonna cost us.
Well, it's, if he's retiring from Middletown, based on my understanding of the retirement system, that will actually go to the municipality that
He retires.
he retires from, but it's the way it's written, it presumes for whatever reason that.
Does it allow him it allows him a reduction of his time, right? Instead of 25 years, he qualifies at 20 years.
So right, so he may not be at 25, he could be at 23 and he lost the
Right.
extra 9 months, but I the way the legislation reads is the municipality,
Yes,
this
That he's
particular case,
retiring from.
yes, but the bill does not, the bill does not read that way.
No.
The bill reads the town of Goshen, which flies a bit in the face of
So if it's for
No,
it's the
he's-
application
He's
process.
in the 20-year retirement with Middletown. He
Right.
was
Right.
in the proper
Right.
retirement that he wanted to be. When he went for retirement, he was a year short because they didn't recognize his time in Goshen.
right.
And that's what he really wants us to do, is give him credit for his time in Goshen so that he can retire from Middletown when he's 20.
Okay, so I understand it, but just for clarity, in my own mind, are we fiscally responsible for any part of his pension?
I'm gonna read you exactly what it says, all right? This is
Nothing
the,
you can do, regardless, we'd be responsible.
right, and it may be just drafted poorly on the other end. This legislative bill,
14493-2-2.
it's in, it authorizes Kevin Brichot to receive certain service credit under section 384D, retirement and social security law. Then it says, if you look at section 2 of that proposed bill, which would be paragraph 14, beginning section 2, all employer past service costs associated with implementing the provisions of this act shall be borne by the town of Goshen and may be amortized over a period of 10 years. So the question becomes, is that the retirement cost or is that the cost of the application or the fees associated with getting him into the system? It's not clear on that. I did have a conversation with Assemblyman Schmidt, albeit it was brief, because he was otherwise unavailable. He squeezed me in for a couple minutes. And it appeared that the way it read was that it would be the time period that he was, the retirement costs associated with the 9 months that Officer Brichot was with us.
Right.
It appeared that the administrative costs on doing this would also be borne by the town.
And that's where the lack of
That's where I
clarity
read
is,
that.
because it could be as simple as that. And unfortunately, I'm not able to, the drafter of this left it a little vague. But understanding how retirement works with police officers, generally speaking, as we just had a discussion before, it's borne by the municipality retired from. So if we don't want to move on this today, I can get clarity on that. I don't think that.
There's not even a bill that's passed that
No.
references this, so I mean.
And
we're way
it's
ahead of
fallen
our
short.
skis on this, right?
So we can,
They need our letter of support to submit the bill, I think is what Assemblyman Schmidt
So-
says.
I'm comfortable tabling it if you want a clarity on that answer. It doesn't seem like it would hurt us to do that, but
So a couple of questions. Mary,
Yes.
you said he worked for us for 9 months. Here it says he worked for us for 16 months.
I said that.
Yeah, I don't know the date.
I put the dates in the letter.
That's one thing.
I used my fingers and that's why I said it.
I have no problem with,
I mean,
helping the guy
he
out for.
We paid for him when he was here, we did retirement, he contributed, so it's not the money, it's the service credit.
Right.
That he's
I
after.
understand.
But I think the thing that I would like, and why I would like to table it is, I'd like to know definitely what is it gonna cost us?
Well, I know, that's fine. I mean, I don't know that I could get you exact dollar amount unless it's the administrative fees. If we're talking about how much, if it somehow is our responsibility for those months retirement wise, I'm not gonna be able to get you that number.
Well, but why would it be?
I don't think it is, but
If
it
you
is.
come to work for us for 9 months, and then you decide you don't want to be a police officer anymore, and you're a baker tomorrow, you're not even eligible for
Right.
retirement.
They just don't clarify it as administrative. If I was reading it and sitting as a decision maker, I'd tell you that it's the administrative fees.
That's
So-
what
But
I
it
said.
doesn't say,
Get
so I
clarification
can't
on-
give George that answer without
Well,
going back.
Colin,
Well, I mean, yeah, that's what I'm gonna go to.
He'll do it.
I
That's,
think
that's
the
what I'm.
only thing they're gonna be able to tell us is what's the administrative costs associated
Right.
with this that we have to pay.
But
As far as the
starting,
pension goes,
Or whatever.
we all agree, I think that it's most likely not the pension, but I would like to clarify that. And then if it is administrative fees, George, I probably can get you a pretty close number, you know?
I'm just curious, is this a bill specifically for him? Or is this,
Yes.
or is this a bill that's state law that they want to put in so that he's eligible for it?
This particular bill is specific to him, but this is not
Ah.
uncharted territory. It just has never, according to Assemblyman Schmidt, it has not been, it's been proposed, it's even been passed on the floor, but it's never been signed into law.
So
So,
there is not really.
It doesn't matter which party's in control, it seems that it just.
so there's no guarantee if we approve this that it's gonna happen.
It sounds like it would be unlikely to happen, it would be unprecedented at least.
So he's, okay, I got you. So he's doing his duty as an assemblyman
Sure,
for one of his constituents.
correct. So, but nonetheless, let's,
Yeah.
we'll table it, George, I'll get you a little more concrete on the answers, okay?
Perfect. We'll table that for the 28th. Okay, here we go. This is review and discuss the formation of an ambulance district in the town of Goshen. So I'll just start out saying that this is something that I had been looking at as part of my campaign to shore up certain things that I ran on. And fortunately for us, we had the town of Montgomery that was also doing it, and Supervisor Mayor Brian Marr was gracious enough to give us all the data for free. I passed that on to everybody. Everybody got to review it. So I just want to open the floor for anybody that has questions, concerns, agreements, disagreements.
Well, I'll start out. So as I told you, Joe, I mean, it would be a tremendous boost to the ambulance corps. If you were tax district, you know, probably like what we have with the fire company. I realize that the fire company is a totally different
George.
situation.
I'm sorry, do you want to turn your mic on, because you're talking very low, sorry.
Okay.
So they can hear you.
No, I realize that the fire company is a totally different situation, but as we all know, they're a tax district. And Joe, I think you told me this year's bill for the town of Goshen Fire Department was 1.9 million.
Just to the Goshen Fire Department.
Right, right. So what's happening in the EMS around Orange County, it's not just Goshen. More and more of the districts are going to tax districts because as it stands now, the Goshen Ambulance Corps survives on billing the insurance companies, and any number of people don't have insurance, or they have high deductibles, or all those other different types of things, and fundraising. That's essentially what happens. We're holding our own, but I believe it's the 26th or 27th, we're purchasing the old Dykeman Firehouse. And I've gotten some preliminary stuff from Tony. Tony Laspinera's been over there. It's going to cost us about $500,000 to refit that. If any of you want to go over there and look at it, if you haven't been in the building, it's really deteriorating. You know, the fire company years ago, before they built that palace out there on 17A, basically said that this building's got to come down. We've been there.
Fire hazard.
We've been there for 15 years, you know, and we've done some improvements, but there's a lot of improvements that have to be done. But anyway, getting back to the matter at hand there, delivering the care. We, as of, I just checked it before I came in, we have now responded to 592 calls since January 1. And that's going to be, we'll probably be well over 2,000 calls during the course of the year. We are a BLS unit, basic life support. What you're finding throughout the county and here is that the paramedics are not around. There's a lot of calls, really serious falls, strokes, heart attacks, where there's no ALS unit that's coming. And that's even pervasive and worse in other areas areas like Warwick and down in Port Jervis. So all in all, as I see it right now, I mean, there's a whole process you have to go through. But as I see it now, we're still going to do fundraising. We're still going to do the billing. And what this tax district would do for us is be able to supplement it so that we're able to do things like improve the building. We have basically all of our people are all part-time. They work full-time in other jobs, and they work here to supplement their income. We'd eventually like to get a full-time person or two because of what we've been talking about with the police officers, right? So all in all, it would really be a great move and would help, EMS and delivering the care to our community.
George, I've lived in several states, and the ambulance corps in every one of those states is attached to the fire department. Is any thought been given for that? I mean, you've been getting crumbs in the past, like where you're at now. That's a travesty that your ambulance, your people are there, parking for your employees or whatever it is. And we've talked a little bit about this in the past, but is that a possibility still?
In Orange County and specifically in Goshen, as far as I can see from being on the inside, as far as the ambulance corps, the fire district wants no part of EMS. They don't respond to EMS calls at all. Now, you go out to Campbell Hall, and COVID turned this whole thing upside down. Otterkill used to respond to all of the calls in Campbell Hall. They no longer do that. They do respond to some of them. But as far as Goshen is concerned, it's not something that the fire company really wants to do at all. The only one that I know of that I can think off the top of my head is the Village of Florida had their EMS, had their ambulance as part of that fire district. And what the fire commissioners did was they couldn't get the personnel, so they canceled it out. It's done. There's no longer any EMS associated with the Village of Florida Fire Department.
Well, I was thinking more not responding to, but providing a facility for your ambulances. So that you're domiciled in an uptown building like all our fire departments. We have 3 fire departments in Goshen. They're all creme de la creme when it comes to the equipment they've got and everything else. Just thinking if you could have a bay on their property or whatever. I don't know. Has that been discussed?
The reason why quite frankly, the reason why we're doing the rehab of the existing building is we can't afford to purchase the property and build the building. We could afford if somebody like donated. In fact, we went around. We went to 4 or 5 different sites. We had a beautiful site up on where Bosse's is now, off to the left-hand side as you drive up. And there was a whole flat land. We would get that for nothing. And what we found out is back in the 60s, that was all fill. So our engineer that we had there said, "You're playing with fire. We're going to be doing stuff." Yeah. And then once we owned it doing it, you have to remediate. And so therefore that would have bankrupted us. So each one of those things, we have another place on the Police Drive, the parcel right after where the DPW is.
Right.
And that had some environmental issues or potential.
Oh, yeah, it's wetland.
So we kind of ran around there and we figured now we could do something with this building. Now, eventually, could that happen? To tell you the truth, I thought about that more than once on Green Street.
I was thinking Green Street or even out there on you're going out of town, the right-hand side where the Dykens are.
Yeah.
There's plenty of land in there. You could put a attachment one of their, I don't know, I'm just thinking out loud. So you're getting good service or treatment from the tax.
Right. But even if we were going to do that, we need some supplementation there.
Sure. Okay.
The tax district is what we're looking to do. It would really help us out tremendously. But thanks, George.
Bill?
So, George, wasn't Lego Land negotiating with us to give us some land? What happened?
No, George was asking for it, but it just
Yeah.
withered up.
No, I'll tell you what happened to it. As you go up to Legoland, I know how to go, but I can't describe it. When you go past the gates there, the employee gate, it's kind of further up there like that. If you go up through there and then you bear off to the right, there was a parcel of land that we were looking at and thinking that this might be a good possibility. However, what occurred was they squeezed this, they basically squeezed this out. They put other structures there. So if you go up there now, the parcel of land that was supposedly slated for go back, you couldn't fit it in.
That wasn't nice.
So, but you know, the Legoland site wasn't really ideal either. You know, it wasn't really kind of like centrally located because we got all the way up.
But they didn't give you a contribution in lieu of.
No.
Oh, okay.
Let-
I just wanted to make sure.
Lego-
They
Legoland-
could have, you
Yeah.
know.
You know,
Anyway.
if you remember all of the stuff that was going on, there was supposed to be a piece of property that would be viable for the ambulance. corps.
Right.
Never came to pass.
So I have a few, I have to be honest, the ambulance corps, they're all volunteers, they work very hard and they do a great job.
No,
I have no problem if we get,
that's not true. We're not all volunteers.
No, we are paying about
There's,
14 hours.
yeah, we're right now,
no full-time.
no full-time.
No, I don't care.
Part-timers. Last night we had our meeting.
Misspoke.
I'm just saying, there's 10 volunteers and all the rest are paid.
Okay. So that's interesting.
But
So,
it's $16 an hour, no base.
no, I understand.
So
They're part-time.
people come and go.
Here's my situation. Once again, it's a service. I know that ALS, Mobile Life comes to, they're supposed to come to every 911 call. And they should be the first responders, I know, I believe, but I don't know. That's what happens. But I know that they, it's not happening because they're not here. Because we're
Because
not
they're
paying
paying
them.
two mobile life units at Garnet, and they're mainly at Garnet in the city of
So who
Middletown.
pays the mobile life? Other than the
So-
insurance.
So what happens now is Mobile Life in Goshen only gets involved, well, I shouldn't say only, 90% of the time, only gets involved
Right.
when it's an ALS call,
Right,
meaning a stroke, a heart attack, serious illness.
right.
So what's happening now is they don't come in an ambulance, they come in a fly car. So they have the medic there, and then they respond to, we have the ambulance there, we transport the person, the paramedic jumps on our rig, and we take them off to the hospital. What's happening with Mobile Life is the same thing that's happening over here, only I guess maybe even worse. They can't keep the people. People are moving on. So what they have done, let's say, for argument's sake, they had 300 ambulances throughout the whole county, let's say. Well, now they can only maybe staff 200 of them. So it's just getting less and less and less. Out in Port Jervis, you don't get ALS at all. There's no ALS for example. So it's really tough.
But they are supposedly the first responders.
Well, no,
You
this is
can't- I don't
our
think-
jurisdiction. We're the first responders. They are supplementing us with ALS services because we do not have paramedics.
Right. 90% of the calls,
Or PLS.
whatever. I know that they respond when 911 calls you. I'm not disputing this. I'm just trying to get an understanding of what you do and what you don't do. My issue really is having volunteer ambulance corps as a taxing authority. That's really the big issue. Having a nonprofit, private organization taxing residents' town of Goshen. I don't know how the village feels. If you approach them or they're making a contract, with you. I don't know. But they contribute, I believe, to the ambulance group.
So do you feel it's different than the fire district? They're all volunteer.
Guess what? I don't like that either. That's right. You're absolutely right. Because my fire taxes now exceed my county tax. So anything they need, once again, it could be a supplement, it'll start out as a supplement. But we'll have a board of volunteers or part-time people that are not elected to anything, that belong to a private organization taxing our residents. We already have the school, the county, the village, the fire district, all of those people, the town, all of those people taxing these residents. And now we're going to give authorization to another private company, it's not a municipality, to tax our residents. We're falling down on the job. Now, I know we contribute to the fire company, I mean, the ambulance company, and if they need more money or whatever, they can come to the town board and we can talk about that. Because we'll control the budget. I haven't seen the budget from the ambulance company, so I didn't realize we were giving them $50,000 a year. I don't know how much is the village getting?
The village is giving this year, I believe it's 25,000. However,
George, can you put on your, we can barely hear you.
I'm sorry. $25,000 this year. However, the other thing that you have to be aware of is for the last 15 years, they own that building there. And they have given a bit.
I'm not saying.
We don't pay any rent or anything like that. So the
Good.
village I guess in other things besides actually outright dollars have been very good to us. We had the furnace crap out and we did a 50-50 pay where they paid 50% and we paid 50%. So, you know, the village in other respects, I guess, has been very kind to us as well.
We should all.
And of course, the town has been too.
Yeah, I mean, at 50,000 a year, but we should all, I don't have a problem with supporting the ambulance. I don't have a problem with it. I do have a problem with them going directly and taxing our residents. That's a real problem. That's a slippery slope. Because pretty soon the animal shelter is going to come and say, we provide this service, we're nonprofit, we do this and that. We think we'd like a taxing authority to tax the residents. I mean, how many people really are going to tax the residents?
You know, we had this for the library.
We have
They used to be part of the school, now they're not.
Right.
What I think, George, I really, if we could start at the county level and come on down,
Okay.
you know what I mean? And
Yeah.
Well, let's do.
Oh, go ahead.
I just want to reiterate the fact that it's never a slippery slope. And I don't think private organizations should be taxing authorities to the residents. I really don't. And I was opposed to the fire company doing that. Look what you have now. That's 3 mausoleums, huge. Anything you want, they just hand us the budget and say, go collect this from the residents. The residents come in here, throwing their hands up in the air. How come my taxes are so high? Whatever happened, we have no control over that. We're the elected officials. So once again, this has nothing to do with the service you provide. It has nothing to do with that. It's a matter of, this is just to control whether it's a need or a want. If you're a taxing authority, whatever you want. And I'm not saying you would abuse it. I'm not saying that. And by the way, your board and the people that run this organization will constantly change and will never be elected. We be volunteers at this point. They're controlling the taxation of our residents. So that's where I'm at.
Yeah, good points. I have a question for the attorney. We don't have the ultimate decision on this. This has to go out for a referendum. Doesn't it have to go out for a vote?
It's done by resolution subject to a petition for a permissive referendum. So that's not a guarantee that the petition would make its way to the board, but it's certainly subject to that, yes.
Well, I hear $50,000 that we put into does that get? $50,000 to me is nothing. It doesn't do anything for anybody.
But they bill.
I know, I
They
understand
bill.
that, but think about their bills.
I
An
don't know.
ambulance can be, $120,000, $140,000, I don't know. Just throwing it out there.
It's fine,
They have
it's fine.
tremendous, they have to buy all these first aid and the life support systems and all that stuff. I mean, that's extremely expensive as far as I'm concerned. And for that to go to my grandmother's house, say, and try and save her life, I want them to have all the right stuff.
That's fine.
Yeah.
I
So,
agree.
mean, if it's not a tax,
Right.
what else can we provide?
Well, then they come and ask us, we now provide them 50,000. If they have a project that they're doing and they want to get 100 or 200,000, then they come and ask us, they present the case, and we say, fine, it sounds good, or it's necessary, it's not. But they're a taxing authority, they don't ask anybody anything. And our residents have to pay, no matter what, they have no say. Who doesn't stop you and talk about how bad their taxes are? So, I mean, that's the only, I'm not finding. the way. I understand you need the money.
I don't know in the
That
state
type
of
of
New York,
authority.
if there's some hierarchy that comes down, so, we need to reorganize. Again, California, North Carolina, Virginia, all these states I've been in, you'll see the ambulances, they're paid for somehow within that whole bucket of money. And they're not a second cousin on the outside asking for 50,000 at a time. And they're very nice pieces of equipment that they've got, and everything. We've been kind of a second cousin, George, because you started up in the 1960s or when it was, out of the dust, 74, out of the dust. It used to be Donovan's Funeral Home used to have the ambulance.
Right.
And I remember that growing up. And so, but it's like a lawyer. I mean, the library, I heard more people when I was going door to door, so angry about building that library, this and that. It's a taxing authority, and so they can do what they want.
At one time, we would contribute to the library.
Yes.
They would present a budget to us, so we would give them what they needed, we would discuss it, negotiate it. They went to the school, they go under the school budget now. I think they're attacking it. So now, so anyway, that's my take.
We're not gonna resolve this tonight
No,
one way or
no,
another.
no.
I mean, the purpose of tonight was for us to start to review it
Yeah.
and then find the data to move forward on what we need to do moving forward. So maybe it might be just, the ambulance corps providing a budget for us to say, this is what we need every year. We need $100,000 every year. And that might be a solution. And, I don't know. For me, I see every other municipality starting to do it. Believe me. Montgomery is knee deep into it right now. The town of Newburgh is knee deep into it right now. They're all starting to see, and the problem that you have is the volunteer side of it is gone. They're not volunteering. Nobody, are you getting volunteers?
Yeah, because nowadays, a young person starting out, when I started out doing EMS, there was no such thing as a get paid.
Right.
Everybody was a volunteer. So now you get people who are 18, 20, whatever. I can get paid for this, or I can volunteer. Simple.
Right.
Simple answer. I want to get paid.
So the point is, if you put on 5 full-timers or 10 full-timers, whatever you think you need with benefits, you just tax the people. That's what happens.
Joe, can I just add one
Sure.
thing, just to, there's also a public hearing component that
Right.
follows the resolution prior to any potential referendum. So sort of putting a legal answer to your concern maybe about the public will have an opportunity, whether they'll show up or not. They'll have an opportunity to have their voice heard.
I understand that.
No, I know that.
I'm taking it from a councilman's point of view,
I-
who was elected.
Right, that's why I'm,
To watch our budget and
right.
watch out for this constituent. That's just-
So just for your own education, there are all sorts of different things that are happening throughout the county. Down in Monroe, since down in Monroe, they pay completely their paid staff from 6A to 6P, and at 6P to 6A, they do the volunteer part. But, you know, so that's well over $100,000, probably $150,000 or something like that. There's another municipality, I don't know, I can't recollect which one it is, but they just outright purchased the ambulance, 200, bought the ambulance, 270,000. Town of Greenville, the new supervisor out there is, he's gonna pay for their paid people that they're instituting. And then, of course, there's a whole selection of them around there where there's tax districts. But getting back to, I think maybe there is a component here. I don't know all the ins and outs of it. But if we look at the fire district as a model, they have people that run for those offices. Most of the people, as we all know, are firemen, right? They run for their board. So maybe there's something there that can be done where you have an election that takes place for the people who are now going to be on the ambulance board. And then that would give, you know, now you would be saying, okay, well, these people are elected and they pass a budget on and so on and so forth. But, you know, and I don't know if that's a solution, but maybe there has to be something like that where there's well, it would be, what I'm saying is, it's a model to what is happening right now in the fire district.
Yes, I understand.
You-
They elect the fire people and the fire people want something, they go out and buy it. They want $1 million fire truck with a hook and ladder.
Yeah,
And
but
it's
these
not
people,
bad.
but these people are duly elected.
They're elected by the fire company.
Well,
not
the
by-
library-
No, they're elected by you
By
and
general
me.
people, yes. But they're
There's
not
a
elected by the
fire-
board.
There's a fire vote
Yes,
and election commissioners, I think every year or every other year or whatever it is.
yes.
So maybe that has to be the model with the ambulance board, that you have to have those elected people. But what I'm trying to say is the other side of the story is the people who are the commissioners are firemen, and
Yes.
usually whatever they want, they
They
get.
get it. That's
So
exactly right.
it's in some respects, maybe sham is probably the wrong word, but something along that.
Yes, and that's because they're attacking authority.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, that's exactly. So, you know, the other thing that you got to be aware of too, Phil, is this, is the the town of Chester went out of business. They're gone. The town of Chester built the police department, I believe, is in it now. But they had an ambulance for that beautiful facility. I was over there several times for different things, and they went out completely. They just evaporated. And of course, the village of Florida. And we picked up those parts of the town of Goshen that was in the Chester area, and we picked up, you know, like places like Valley View and the apartment place down there. So we've kind of expanded with that. But
But had you not done that, who would cover the village of Chester if there was a 911 call?
now, who covers it? Mobile Life is there. Mobile Life has a rig station.
Right.
All right, well, we're not, like I said,
Yeah.
this is tonight is for discussion more than
Yeah.
anything. I just
Yeah.
think that we need to put more data together. For me, you know, this is crucial because we do have an aging township, and that definitely requires this service. So how we get it done and how we deliver it is up to us, but I just think that we need to look at this seriously. And George, I'm telling you, you have my word, I'll work with you side by side, think of different scenarios to the board to see how we can get this done. And if it means putting $100,000 or $150,000 into the budget to make sure that you guys have what you need, then we could look at that too. So. Thank you. All right, moving on. Item number 21. Information only. We're going to postpone the annual water sewer meeting to no later than July 28, 2022, pending the completion of the comprehensive study by Delaware engineer. Item number 22. The safety seminar has been set up for April 19th. All employees and board members need to attend. Please contact Kathleen Colette for attendance information. Attached.
Starts in the morning, 10 a.m.
Wanna do this virtual?
I can,
Voice out.
I can send you a Zoom link, yes. Anybody who can't physically attend, I can send them a Zoom link.
Do we know when it is?
It is the 19th, it's Tuesday,
10 to 2, I mean, it's 10 to 12 or
probably like 1.
20.
Before we move on to finance, we have a guest in our audience. Officer, come on up. This is Officer Nigel Baljabin. We just,
Listen, I just want to say thank you. I'm so excited, I'm speechless.
Nigel, you got the job, Nigel.
So,
You got the job,
Looks
Come
like-
on,
I'm so
Nigel, you
excited it's
got
gonna
the
be-
job. Leave us alone.
thank you so much.
congratulations.
Yeah.
Hey, Nigel,
You will.
58-year-old women aren't old, okay?
Where'd you get that from?
I heard it. I heard it.
I'm already suspended.
Thanks for coming in. Nigel.
No, I just want to say really thank you. I really
Yeah.
did. It's a
Well
dream.
deserved.
It's crazy. I didn't think it was gonna come through. It really does mean a lot to me.
Make us proud.
Well done, well
I
done,
will.
well done.
Tell your mama.
Yeah, right. I already called her. She's
Oh, there you
so
go.
excited.
All
Good.
right, do you have any of those
Congrats.
cards? Do you have any of those cards?
It's PBA
Yeah,
card.
cards.
Free-
I brought 'em right here.
free-
Free get out of jail card.
Free get out of jail card.
Wait, are you? We don't have those.
All right, moving on to finance. Discuss and approve a motion to authorize the supervisor to pay accounts payable check run on April 14, 2022 in the amount of $179,979.71. Have a motion?
So
So moved. Second. All in favor?
Aye.
Discuss and approve a motion to authorize the supervisor to pay workers' comp claims in the amount of $3,529.58.
So moved.
Second.
Second.
All in favor?
Who's
Aye.
second? Sorry.
George. Whatever.
Doug, sorry.
We should have a standard first and second on all of these, so you don't have to worry about it. Discuss and approve a motion to authorize the supervisor to pay manual AP run for 12/31/2021 in the amount of $83,647.88 AP run for 1/31/2022 in the amount of $216,277.15 and the AP run for 2/28/2022 in the amount of $19,264.10. Motion,
So moved.
second, Rick, all in favor?
Aye.
Approve the year-to-date budget transfer request by the budget officer dated March 24, 2022. So moved. Second,
Second.
all in favor?
Aye.
Approve the year-to-date budget transfer requested by the budget officer dated April 14, 2022.
So moved.
Yeah.
I'll second. All in favor?
Aye.
Information only, Christine Cavallari conducted an accounts payable order for 3/30/2022. See the attached. Year-to-date budget. The budget officer requested approval to make year-to-date budget transfers in all funds to cover expenditures accounts that have exceeded their budget amounts. These transfers will be funded by expense accounts to exceed budget amounts available for transfer. See attached list.
For all it's just is information.
Yep. Correct. All right. All right, Bob. You going home? Got nothing to share with us tonight?
Mayor,
There's plenty there, but
not yet.
I'm going away tomorrow.
Where you going? Where you going?
Going.
All right, nice. Thank you. You're good. I'm not going to Mexico until the 28th.
Motion to adjourn.
Yes, I have a motion to adjourn the meeting. Second,
Doug and Rick.
all in favor?
Aye.